right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, let's talk about the next upcoming pro bodybuilding show, and that is going to be the Yamamoto Nutrition Cup over in Italy. Now, this is going to be on October 17th, so we're just a few days away from that. So they just came out with the competitor list, but Roelly is doing the show also, I'm pretty sure. He's even on the poster of this list, even though he's not listed in the names. So in this list, Roberto Bonomo, Jamie Christian Jahal, a.k.a. The Giant, Samson Dauda, Nathan Diasha, Kevin Gerbhardt, Boyan Ivanov, Theo LaGuarrier, Aldo Mazzolo, Fabio Romagnolo, Robert Taylor, and Leonardo Visciatio. So it looks like we're going to get the Nathan Diasha and Samson Dauda rematch from the Arnold Classic UK, but it also looks like we're going to get the Roelly Winklaar Nathan Diasha rematch. Now, I suppose there's a chance he doesn't compete, but he is on the poster. I do know he is flying to Italy. He just posted this post on his Instagram page, and it would make perfect sense. He just placed outside of the top 10 at the Olympia, so really, as far as the 2022 season is concerned, if Roelly is going to keep competing, it's time for him to go back to the drawing board, and I know that a lot of the reason why, when he was prepping for the Europa Spain, he didn't look quite as good as he usually looked, as he didn't train for nearly as long as he usually had. He had been kept out of the gym because of the virus, because of the pandemic. I want to say he had only been back in the gym for that prep for like a couple of months. So what would make the most sense for Roelly would be to try to qualify for next year's Mr. Olympia as early as he possibly can and focus on training, peaking, rebuilding his physique back to the drawing board for 2022. And do what Regan and James did for this year's Olympia and have all year to focus on that. We're going to talk about them in a second. But if Roelly does compete here, we're also going to get to see the Nathan versus Roelly rematch from the Europa Spain. And it's interesting to see, because if you look at the scorecards from the Arnold Classic UK, because we're going to see Nathan and Samson here again, and they competed at the Arnold Classic UK, it was extremely close between Nathan and Samson, separated by only 1 point at prejudging and 3 points at finals, for a total of 10-8 was the final result. So it was close between the two. It wasn't a slam dunk for Nathan by any means. But Nathan's on a hot streak right now. He's going into this show off of 2 wins. Roelly's on kind of a slow streak. Samson looked really good at the last show. Nathan's already qualified for next year's Mr. Olympia. Roelly needs to qualify. Samson needs to qualify. So this is going to be an interesting battle here. And this is not the only battle we've got. Later on in October, you've got the Legion Sports Festival, and this is also going to be a 2022 Olympia qualifier. And in that show, Regan Grimes, 12 days out from that Legion Sports show. You've also got Max Charles, Cedric McMillan, and Sergio Oliva Jr. We'll show an update of Sergio after this. But Regan Grimes I want to talk about for a second here, because Regan, even though he just got 15th place again at the Olympia, he still has a ton of potential. For a guy that placed close to last at the Olympia, I don't think anybody is really saying that Regan's physique is bad. I don't think anybody's saying Regan looked like trash. No one is down on Regan. He's still got the structure that he's got. He's still got the lines that he has. He's still very young and still has the potential that he has. So I don't think anyone is really counting out Regan yet. And again, I think taking the opportunity to try to qualify early is a really good move for Regan in a lineup like this. If he could beat a guy like Sergio, a guy like Cedric, a guy like Max, that would be a major, major move for him. I mean, look at this picture of his physique. I am still impressed by Regan even after that 15th place Olympia placing. And then you go to this other picture posted by Milo Sarshev, and he says he's excited to work with Regan. So that means that Regan is switching coaches for this next show, and it looks like going forward as well, maybe into his next Olympia, assuming he does somehow qualify. And look, maybe that's the shift that Regan needs to really change things up, to get a new coach, to go in a different direction. I mean, look what Derek Lunsford was able to do with Hani Rambod this year. He changed coaches last year, and we saw the best version of Derek we had ever seen after he worked with his previous coach for such a long period of time. Maybe this is what Regan needs. And personally, I'm still rooting for Regan. I think he's a great bodybuilder, and I do think he's got a lot of potential, and I would like to see him fulfill that full potential. So shout out to Regan, shout out to Milos. I wish them the best of luck as the new team that they are. Now, next up in the news, let's talk about Phil Heath. We got a physique update from Phil, but I believe it's from the 2020 Olympia prep. So he put up this post. He says, "Bodybuilders, have you ever missed your peak? Well, I did for the 2020 Olympia. This was taken at November 22nd, 2020, so it was taken last year, which was 4 weeks out from the Olympia. I was too lean when I started prep. I felt like I was fighting an uphill battle, as every cheat meal I ate just made me leaner too fast. On this day, I had 4 cheat meals prior to training, and it didn't stick as well as I hoped. There's a lot I want to discuss about this topic and many other topics related to contest prep. I never truly pulled back the curtain, and I'm excited to share my journey on a more consistent basis. And then he has hashtag Phil Heath Podcast. So I wanted to include that in this video, both because it was an interesting insight into Phil's prep last year, and also just to hype up Phil's podcast. I think we need to show more love in this industry. There's so much negativity in the fitness and bodybuilding industry. Why not promote someone else's podcast for no other reason than just to throw it in a video? So stay tuned. Phil Heath Podcast coming soon. And if you want to see me and Phil work on something together, let me know in the comment section below. 2022 is going to be the year of peace and love. But shout out to Phil Heath. All right, now next up in the news, let's talk about Sergio Oliva Jr. for a second. This was his physique update at roughly 2 weeks out from that Legion Sports Festival. Now, Sergio didn't place where we thought he would at the Arnold. Just a couple of weeks ago, he's looking for redemption here at this Legion Sports Festival, and also he's looking for an Olympia qualification. So even though the Olympia is over, the battle for next year's Olympia is just beginning. We're starting to see some of these shows pop up where people are trying to qualify for 2022, so that conversation is already kind of opening up. And now in just a couple of weeks, we're going to get to see Sergio, Regan, Max, and Cedric all go head-to-head at Legion, and then we're going to see, hopefully, Roelly, Nathan, and Samson in Italy. And then here's another one. We just got the dates announced for the 2022 Indy Pro, which I will be at. May 14th, 2022, the Indy Pro. So this is going to be another qualifier for the 2022 Olympia. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm always looking forward to the Indy Pro. I've got some very fond memories going to that show. Now, next up in the news, speaking of upcoming shows, Rafael Brandao posting this physique update, getting ready to make his comeback at the Romania Muscle Fest Pro. Now, this show is going to be next month in November, the 12th through the 14th, also a 2022 qualifier. And this is a show that Brandao is getting ready to compete. This is going to be his big comeback. He's one of my favorite men's open guys. We just haven't seen him compete in a while. He is a really, really complete, really competitive, and really aesthetic men's open pro that I'm excited to see compete again. I think the last time that we saw him on stage was either the British Grand Prix or the Europa Span. I don't remember which one came first, but that was 2020. So he's been out of the game for a little bit, but he's looking to be every bit as big as he was now, if not even bigger. So that's a comeback I'm really excited to see. So once again, I wanted to thank you guys. If you guys did not see yesterday's video, we were able to resolve the situation with the Olympia copyright strikes. So first and foremost, I want to thank you guys, the fans, because I think largely you guys made that possible. You made your voices heard. You guys were unhappy with that decision. You guys want to see the Olympia covered on this channel. You guys were very supportive of me. You had my back. You were very vocal. And as a result of that, I got a call from the owner of the Olympia. And they basically told me it was a mistake that my videos were taken down, and they're going to do everything in their power to rectify that. So thank you to Jake and Dan for taking the time to call me and rectify the situation. But thank you to you guys for making that possible. It really shows how strong the community is over here and how big of fans of bodybuilding you really are. I really do appreciate it. I can't say it enough. It means the world to me. And you guys just really had my back in a time where I was like, man, this really sucks. You just got to understand that as a bodybuilding channel, as a bodybuilding fan, this weekend, the Olympia weekend, it's it. This is the thing that we're waiting for all year. And for that weekend to come around, just to have the videos taken down is like, it's big. I'm not going to lie, it sucked, but it's been really cool to see all the support from you guys, all the messages, all the comments. I'm trying to reply to as many as I can, but if I haven't replied, I'm reading them. I'm reading the emails, I'm reading the DMs, I'm reading the comments, and I do appreciate all of them. It's been really cool to see some of the support that I've gotten, and I love it. And I love you guys. So leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoy the channel. Subscribe if you have not subscribed already. As always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.